Okay, then. Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Naveen. Good evening, Utpal. I can see you guys. Am I audible? Please confirm, guys. Am I audible? Am I clearly audible? Okay, that's great. That's great. That's really amazing. Okay, so first of all, good evening. I welcome you all to this stream. Good evening, Komal. Good evening, guys. Okay, so welcome back to day 3 of this Mastering CSS from Scratch sessions. Okay, I hope all of it is going good so far. I hope you have understood everything, whatever we have learned till now, right? We have completed the basics of CSS. We have completed how to arrange things, how to lay out things. We have also learned how flexboxing works. And yesterday we also saw how positions work, right? Now don't worry about it because we're going to be using all that things we have learned on the last day when we make a really amazing project or maybe a really amazing web page, right? Project at the end. Okay. So today again is one of the most important days because today we are going to be learning one of the most important topics, that is something called as grid. And then after that we'll be moving ahead to background, which is again one of my favorite topics. And then after that we'll be moving ahead to some basic stuff like pseudo classes. Okay, so starting with the tough one, then going ahead with the easier ones. But not grid is also not tough at all, but it's a new topic. It's a fairly new thing available in CSS, and a lot of people find it tough. So that's the first thing that we are going to be discussing today. But I really hope that whatever we have created till now, whatever we have understood till now, you guys have understood all that stuff, right? सर CSS के बाद JS का फुल बेसिक टू एडवांस सीरीज चाहिए. हाँ, वही करने वाले हम. सो वंस हम CSS फिनिश करेंगे तो उसके बाद प्लान वही है कि हम डायरेक्टली JS पे शिफ्ट करेंगे. उसमें सारी चीज़ें फ्रॉम बेसिक्स टिल डोम मैनिपुलेशन कंप्लीट करेंगे एंड देन विल मूव ऑन टू द बैक एंड यूजिंग जावास्क्रिप्ट in Node.js and Express and all that stuff. So plan वही है. So let's see how it goes. Okay guys. So are we ready to start today's session, everyone? Guys, all set? Shall we start with the first topic for today, that is grid? Guys, give me a yes in the chat. Come on. And also please like this session so that it reaches to more people and more people can learn from it. Okay, so don't forget to like the stream every time you come. Okay, that helps me and that motivates me as well. Okay, then full Josh, let's start. So guys, yesterday we learned Flexbox, which was nothing but a layouting system, right? A layouting technique. So first of all, we saw how to lay out your page, how to lay out your boxes, containers and elements using your basic techniques like display inline block and using margin and padding, right? Then we saw there were few problems in it, that we had to do calculations, we had to do a lot of adjustments. Then after that, we shifted to Flexbox, and there we saw that things became a lot simpler because we didn't have to do a lot of calculation. Things were getting adjusted by default, right? It was easy to arrange elements either in row direction or column direction. So today we are going to be learning one more layouting technique that is very, very new in CSS. That is something called as the grid layouting system. And as it says, it's a grid. That means it is simply a combination of rows and columns. Okay, now before we move ahead, I just want you guys to know the difference between a flexbox and a grid. Remember that flexbox is one directional. That means either you work with row or you work with column, right? Flexbox can go only in one direction. Flexbox can align elements only in one direction at one time. Either the flex direction is row or the flex direction is column. But if you talk about grids help you to work with both row and column at one time. That means let me just give you an idea. So when you're using the grid layouting system, what happens is, see, let me just open it. Here we go. Okay. So if you're using the grid layouting system in your browser, internally, the browser creates a grid, something like this, a row, a collection of rows and columns. And now you can adjust your elements in these rows and columns that have been created. Now don't worry, these grid lines are not visible by default, but we can make them visible. So when we use the grid layouting technique, there is a property that creates an invisible grid in your browser web page, and you can arrange your elements in those grid cells exactly like Excel sheet, but invisible like Excel cells exactly. So when you use the grid layout, now you know, right? When you go on websites, right? When you go on websites like, let's say, flipkart.com, mostly you go on any site, things are arranged in a grid manner only. For example, if you see this is nothing but a row, and all these elements are in column direction: row, column, row, column. So either you can do this exact same thing using flexbox, but a much more better approach can be a grid. But again, guys, I'm not saying that grid is better than flexbox. Some people like to use flexboxing technique, they find it easier. Some people like to use grid technique, they find it much more easier. Sometimes what happens is, in some places you might use grid, in some places you might use flexboxing. It depends on how easy something is for you and how you like it. Okay, that's it. But I'm going to be teaching you, yes, you can combine both and use it. Yes, flexbox and grid can be totally combined. Okay, but I just want to tell you the difference, that flexbox only works in one direction at one time, grid works in both the directions at one time, so that it gives you more flexibility of arranging your elements. So whenever you create a grid, it simply creates an invisible grid, right? Just like an Excel sheet, it creates an invisible table in your web page, and then you simply go ahead and you fix your elements in those cells, and then they follow a grid system, and then they simply become something like this. So let's say your box number 1, box number 2, box number 3, box number 4, 5, 6, and much more. This is a very simple example, but you can do much more. So let's directly get into it and let's start learning it. I've never found interesting learning CSS, sir. I'm loving it from today's. Amazing, Braj Gopal. I'm really glad that you're liking it. Okay, so let's go, guys. Let's start. Okay, so first of all, again, there is not a lot of things that we're going to be doing in this. So I'm going to be using internal CSS only. I'm not going to be creating a separate CSS file, but if you want, you can do that. So let's go. I'm going to be creating a file called as grid.html. Okay, let's write our basic HTML code first. I don't need these meta tags as of now, so I'll be removing them. Let's remove the sidebar from here and let's start. So let me just write here grid. Okay, cool. As I said, I'm going to be doing internal CSS. Here we go with style. Okay, so let's start, guys. Let's go. So first of all, I'm going to be creating a div. Okay, a normal div. You can also create a section, anything you like. So div class, I'm going to be calling it as container, because it's going to be my parent. But again, guys, you can call it anything. Okay, let's just give it some basic height and width. So dot container. As you know that I don't like to give height, so I'm not going to give it any height. But for now, let's just give it container height of, for now, let's say 500 pixels, and the width of, let's say, again same, or maybe 600 pixels, right? And just give it a border so that we can see a few things. So border 5 pixel solid black. I'm just giving all these things so that you can see things properly. That's all. Normally you won't put any border like this. Okay, so let's run this file in the browser. Again, guys, you can also use a live server extension that is available in VS Code, but for these basic things, I'm not going to be using that. Okay, I'm going to be moving it a little on the right side. So for that, I'll simply use a little bit of margin. So margin of 150 pixels. So from top left, from all the sides, will come here. Okay, now let's just inspect it so that we can see a few things. I'll increase the font size a little bit here. Okay, cool. Now I can see. So right now it's a normal div. It's just a normal div. Now let's convert this into a grid. Let's convert this div into a grid. And for that, you just have to do display grid. And that's it. Now if you see, it has been converted into a grid. You can see here, right? There's a new thing available called as grid. But right now, this grid doesn't know how many rows or column it has. Okay, so let's define that. And for that, you have to go here and you have to use two very important properties called as grid template rows, which you can use to define the number of rows. And the next property is grid template columns, which you can use to define the number of columns. Now, how to define the number of rows and columns? It's very easy. So let's say you want to define 3 rows of 100 pixel each. So you just write 100 pixel space 100 pixel space 100 pixel. That means you want 3 rows each of 100 pixel. And let's say you also want 3 columns each of 100 pixel or maybe 150 pixel. So 150 pixel, 150 pixel, 150 pixel. So now you'll have a grid of 3 rows and 3 columns, rows of 100 pixel each and columns of 150 pixel each. You can also like put it different values here, but for now, for simplicity, I'm using same values. Now let's save it and let's go. Now if you just click on this grid, can you guys see that? Guys, is it visible to you, everyone? I think if I zoom it, it will be a little more visible. Okay, see. So that's how it is created, right? A simple grid. Now see, your whole div is a little bigger, but inside that you have 3 rows of 100 columns and 3 columns of 150 pixel. Sorry, 3 rows of 100 pixel and 3 columns of 150 pixel. Now you can see here, there are some numberings here like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3. That's basically the starting point. You can call those things are called as tracks. Okay, so it's always starts with 1. So the first line, like for example, if I just have to give an example, let me just do it here. Think of it like this, guys. Think of it like this. Just don't get confused. Think of it like this. Let's say I have 3 rows, right? So this is 3 rows, correct? And let's say I have 3 columns as well, right? Something like this. So 3 rows and 3 columns. So this is what you call as 1. The starting point is always counted as 1. Then this becomes 2, this becomes 3, and this becomes 4. Just like that, in the column case as well, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Okay. This will be used in future to increase the size of elements that you want to span across the grid elements. Let's say you have one element here, right? You want it to take 2 cells. So you can use these numbers to span this. You can say this element, okay, fine. Start from 1, go till 3. Start from 1, go till 4. You can just do that. You can call it as a gutter, but see, gutters are not at the ends, right? They are always in between the grid. That's why we call it as a track and not as a gutter, because gutters are always in between the cells, not at the edges, right? I think, right, Naveen? So yeah, I think you can call it like that, but mostly it is called as tracks here. Okay, just remember this, guys. So starting from 1 from both the sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it, and we're going to be using it a lot. Okay, so let's start. So you can see the numberings are already provided. So this grid is very helpful. See this grid that appears here, just click on that and you'll be able to see this. Okay, now then, without using any more time, let's start filling elements in here. I hope it's easy so far. So now let's go and let's create some items in this. So let's go, some divs. So div, let's call it something called as item. And I'm also going to give them separate classes so that I can apply some few other things as well. So item 1, item 2, and let's say item 3. Cool. And now let's go. Let's apply some same CSS to all the items. So item, and let's also write some numbers in there so that we can just see them properly. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 elements, 3 items inside the grid. Okay. And every item should have, let's say, a height of, or you can again just remove the height and width as well. But for now, I'm just going to give it. So height of 50 pixel and width of 50 pixel. And let's just give it a background color of red for now. That's it. And increase the font size to, let's say, 30 pixel. And here we go. See that, guys? Everyone, can you see that? So by default, all the elements are placed in different grids, different cells. So the first element is placed in the first cell. That's how grid behaves by default. So now every element that you create will simply go like this. The flow will go like this. First will go in the first cell, then second, then third. Then if you create one more element, it will by default go in the second row's first column. If you just create it, you can see that. If I just create it here, and let's say I call it item number 4. Okay, and let's just give it 4. See that? So the elements are getting adjusted by default. You're not even aligning them. You're not even doing anything for them. They are just getting placed by default. This is one really amazing thing that Grid provides. You're not aligning them. You're not telling them to like go in a row direction or column direction. They are simply getting aligned by themselves. And that's the best part. So guys, are we clear till now, everyone? Have we understood how we created the grid and adjusted the elements? Now we're going to be doing much more, but are we cleared till now? Everyone, please tell me. Just confirm me once. All cleared, guys? Okay, amazing. Now let's move ahead and let's see what else can we do here. Okay, so let's see what are the properties of grid we can apply to the child elements. See, right now we applied everything to the parent, that is container. Now let's see what are the grid properties that we can directly apply to the child elements. So let's say we want to do something with item number 1. Okay, specifically. So let's apply item 1. Okay. Now, one thing that you can do here is you can specify, you can increase the size of this element and ask it to span across multiple, cells. For example, let me just remove the height and width so that it can easily span. Okay, so if you remove the height and width, it takes the full size of the grid, and that's what I wanted for now. And also, I just want them to have different colors. Okay, so let me just give it a different color so that it's much more visible. So background color, let's say blue. And I also want item 2 to have a different background color. So item 2. So guys, if you don't give height and width to your elements, they by default take the full size of the cell. Background color, let's say green. Just 2 different colors for more visibility. Here we go. So blue and green. Nice. Now let's go to item 1. And now I can ask it to span across the cells by using a property called as grid column start. So I can go and write grid column start. So I want it to start from 1. Now I don't have to worry about it because it's already starting from 1. But let's just mention it. Okay, fine. I want you to start from column number 1. That is here. But it's already starting from here, so that's fine. But the ending is important. I want you to end at column. Now see guys, it's starting from 1 and ending at 2. But I want to tell it that you please end at 3. So now see what happens. Grid column end at 3 number track. Now see what happens. It starts from 1 and goes till 3. And all the other elements adjust by themselves. We don't have to worry about it. Nothing will get pushed. They will be rearranged in the grid. Okay. So I can just do this. I can also say it, okay, fine. Start from row 1 but go till track number 3. So I can do that. Start from track 1. So I don't have to mention that because it's already starting from 1. But I can just mention the end. Grid row end 3. Let's see. And here we go. See that, guys? Okay, no, I have to mention the start as well. It's important so that it knows. So grid row start from 1. Otherwise it moves it. And here we go. See that? Guys, are we cleared? So I told this blue element to start from track 1 in the row direction. Start from track 1, go till track 3. In the column direction, start from track 1 and go till track 3. And just like that, I can increase the size of the element. And all the other elements will by default get rearranged. I don't have to worry about them. Is this cleared, everyone? Understood this? But I can also do it in a shorthand way because here I'm writing 4 different properties. I can also do it in the shorthand way. So if you want to do the same thing, but in a less code, you can just do this. Grid column, okay? And just mention the start and end. So start from 1, end at 2. Oh, sorry, in this case, 3. So 1/3. Same for grid row. Start from 1, end at 3. And that's it. So the same thing can be done with this as well. So a shorthand property. Grid column, just apply start/end. Grid row, start/end. And it's the exact same thing. Okay, so guys, I really hope that this is getting cleared, everyone. Understanding all of it? Okay. Now, there is one more thing that you can do. If you don't want to mention the start and end, what you can do is, you can also do this. See, let me just show you. You can just say grid column span and then 2. Okay. And then grid row span and then 2. Let's see what's happening here. And see, it's still the same. So span 2 means from wherever you are, span into 2 cells. So by default, it was taking only 1 cell. I simply said span into 2. Let me show you. If I remove the row 1, see, it's spanning into 2 columns. So I said grid column span 2. That means by default, it's only taking 1 column. Please take 2 columns. Just like that, I can also say span 3. So take 3 columns. Just like that. Now, if you talk about this version of this, if I just try to do it in this way, it will be grid column 1/4. So this thing and this thing are exactly the same, right? Everyone, are we understanding? So in span, you don't specify the start. You, wherever it is, from there it will simply increase its size. It will span across the number of columns or the number of rows you specify, right? So now you might ask when to use which one. First of all, guys, tell me, have you understood this? Is it cleared? Is spanning in these three different ways cleared? You can either go for grid column start, grid column end, or you can simply go for grid column and specify the start and end at one place, or you can also use span. Span depend on the local call width size. Column width size, see, it doesn't matter what is the column width. It will just take that many columns. Span basically says from wherever it is created. See, in this way, you are specifying that start from track number 1 and go till track number 4, right? In this way, you're specifying that. In this, I can also specify start from track number 2. So I can change it. Now see, it starts from track number 2 and goes till 4. So it's customizable. But when you do span, it basically you cannot customize the start. You simply specify how many cells to take. That's it. So from wherever it is created, it will span across the cells. That's it. You don't specify a start. You don't specify an end. You simply say from wherever you have created, from wherever you have been. See, for now, you know that this element is created in the first cell. So if I just say span 3, it will simply span across 3 columns and that's it. You cannot specify the start or the end. You just give the number of cells to cover. That's it. Exactly. Everyone, are we getting clear till now, guys? So depending on your needs, you can choose anything from it, guys. Mostly you're going to be using span a lot because you don't want to change the structure, right? Mostly we follow the structure given by the grid. But again, guys, it depends. It completely depends on your use case. But I hope everyone else is also cleared with this. Okay. Guys, if you're understanding the session, please don't forget to like. And if someone is new, please, guys, do subscribe and help me grow. And also share it with your friends and colleagues. Okay, so guys, all cleared with this basic stuff? Grid column start, grid row, all this basic stuff? Exactly, exactly. Not only with grid, Naveen, a lot of times for creating any design, you need to have it. But yeah, mostly with this, you definitely need to have it. Initially, see, once you practice it a lot and once it fits in your mind, it will become easier. But initially, if you're learning, you definitely need to draw it on paper so that you understand the counting and all that stuff. Yeah, mostly, initially you're correct, Naveen. You need something on paper. But once you like become good in it, you can just go ahead and start doing things. Okay. Now, guys, let's go ahead and let's talk about a few more things. Now, let's say I want, okay, yes, exactly, Utpal. In a designer, as a designer, a lot of times you get Figma files. Yes, yes. Now, guys, let's do one more thing. Let's say span 2 to this. Okay, fine. Now, see the best thing. Normally, if I want one element on top of other element, let's say I want this 2 on top of 1. I want this 2 on top of 1. For that, in normal CSS, we can use positions. We can give position absolute and absolute, and they will come on top of each other. Right, guys? Yesterday, we learned that, right? If I just give position absolute to this and this, they will come on top of each other, and then I can use Z index to arrange them. Correct? So to make sure that they come on top of each other, we normally use positions. But if you're using grid, you don't have to do that. You can completely avoid positions and still you can stack things on top of each other. Let's see how. You simply go ahead to item 2 and tell it that, okay, fine. You please start from, let's say, this is track number 1 and this is 2, right? So start from 2. Okay. And grid row start also 2. That means I want your column start and row start. No, sorry, row start should be 1, right? 1, yes. So row start 1. And here we go. Okay. I think I didn't mention few things. Oh, here. Now here I have to mention properly where to start and where to end, because span doesn't understand. Span simply moves it, because this two number element is taking this space, right? So span moves it. So don't do that. Mention specifically that no, I want you to take. Let me just uncomment this. I'm going to mention no. Start from 1 and go till 3. Please do that. And now you'll see. Okay, wait. I think I'm doing some mistake. And yeah, grid row. Just start from 1. And now let me decrease the height of 2 so that you can see few things. So height of 30 pixel for 2. See that, guys? Now 2 is on top of 1. Just you specified everything from where to start and where to end, and without using positions, without worrying about the absolute positioning, without worrying about how to arrange it, you can simply stack something on top. You can also stack this 3 on 2. Just give it the same start and end. It can come over 2. Let me show you that. Let me increase the size of this to 50 pixels. Okay. Now let's stack 3 on top of 2. So it will be like 1, then 2, then 3. Now guys, what you have to do? Tell me, everyone. Just go to item number 3 and tell the position. That's it. Just let it know the position. That's all you need. No need to worry about absolute. Now guys, come on, tell me. I want this 3 at this place. So what will be the start for this 3 element? Column start. Guys, come on. Column start will be 2 and row start will be 1. Correct? So let's go. Exactly. So grid column start will be 2 and grid row start will be 1. And see, now that 3 is on top of that. Let's decrease the size of 3 so that we can see it properly, what is behind it. So let's just give it a height of 30 pixel. And here we go, see. So there is 1 spanning from here till here. Then on that we have 2, and on top of that we can have 3. And we didn't use position at all. So that's the best part, right? Without using positions, you're stacking elements. You're arranging them in a good way, right? So this is one really cool thing that grid provides you. Okay. So guys, are we clear till now, everyone? Are we understanding everything here? Or do we have any confusion? Anything that you want to ask about? Anything? Struggling to understand grid row. Okay, wait. Where is the confusion? This grid row. See, grid row basically is a shorthand of grid row start and grid row end. Naveen, see, if I do grid row start, let's say 3, okay, and if I do grid row end as 4, that's exactly similar to grid row 3, 4. This is just a shorthand of start and end. But if I only specify one value, that basically means I'm talking about the start. Is that cleared? Row or col. Row means horizontal line. See, yes, row is here horizontal line, exactly. But while you're counting in rows, you're going vertically. See, again, don't get confused. This is your first row. This is your second row. This is your third row, right? So if you want to span something in row, it will go in this direction. If you're spanning something in column, it will go in this direction. Because this is your first column, second column, third column. Are you understanding? Guys, see. Remember that this is your first row. This is your second row. This is your third row. So if you're spanning something across rows, it will go in this direction. This is your first column, second column, third column. So if you're spanning something across columns, it will go in this direction. That means if you're moving through columns, you're going in row direction. You're going horizontally. Just don't call it row so that it will create confusion. Okay? So if you're spanning through columns, you're going horizontally. If you're spanning through rows, because rows are like this, right? Rows go vertically. First row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. First column, second column, third column, fifth column. So it's simple. Sometimes it might be a little confusing because we always map horizontal to row. But just think simply. If you're spanning through columns, you're going in horizontal direction. And if you're spanning through rows, you're going in vertical direction. Is it clear, Naveen? I think Naveen and Utpal have deleted some message. Please tell me, guys, do you have any confusion in here? Naveen? Hi, Akhilesh. Good evening, buddy. Good evening. How are you? Got it, guys? Naveen, is it clear to you? Please confirm me once. Spanning columns count on the exact. Exactly. That's where the confusion mostly comes from, right? Simple to think. Just think that this is row, first row, second row, third row. And if you're going through rows, you're simply going to go in vertical direction. That's it. That's all. So that's why when I say grid row start 3 and grid, let's say row and 5, that means start from 3 and go till 5. It will go through vertical direction. Row from third row, let's say to fifth row, in this case, from third track line to fifth track line, row direction. Is that clear? Hopefully it is understood, guys. Let's go back to the grid now. Okay. So I really hope that you understood this start, end, and positioning. So it's all about start and end. That's it. It's all about start and end. That's it. In span, meaning of rows and calls reverses. In span, no, I don't think it reverses. No, Utpal. No, not at all. See, let me just do one thing. Let's take all the things to normal. Now that you guys know the property, let me take everything to normal. Let me take everything to normal for some time. Let's just do this. Let me just give it a background color of blue. See. Again, normal, right? Now I want it to grow in 2 columns. See, right now, it's in only 1 column. I want it to take 2 columns. Think, Utpal. I want it to take 2 columns. Now there are 2 ways, right? Everyone please focus. Now there are 2 ways. One is I can do this. Grid, column, start, 1, because I want it to start from here. 1. And I want to go till 3. This is 3, third track. So from 1 till 3. So grid, column, end. Grid, column, end, 3, right? So now you'll see it's going that way, right? It's from 1 till 3. Perfect. So I want to span across columns. So it is going horizontally. Simple. Now I can do the exact same thing in this way. I can simply specify grid column and I can specify 1, 3, which is exactly the same thing. Still the same output. And if I want, I can also do this. But now you know that in span, you don't specify any specific number, right? But you know that it by default takes 1 column. You want it to take 2 columns. So you just write span 2. So it's still doing the same thing. Just you're simply saying in the column, wherever you are, from there, take 2 columns. So it's taken 1. 1 was by default. It has taken now 2 columns. But it's still going horizontally. So whenever you're spanning across columns, no matter which technique you're using, you'll go horizontally. Because column 1, column 2, column 3 are placed like this, right? Columns are placed horizontally. Rows are placed vertically. Hopefully now it's completely cleared. There is no confusion at all. Guys, hopefully all of this is cleared now to everyone. Okay, amazing. Now then, let's move ahead. For best practice, which to use, span or start in. See, normally, like what I do is, whenever I need highly customized, like whenever I want to start from something and end at something, I go for start and end. But whenever I feel, okay, I have this element, I don't want to change its start, I simply want it to take 3 columns or 3 rows or 4 rows, I go for span. Is it clear, Naveen? So if you care about the start and end, go for the grid column start end technique where you mention the start and end. If you don't care about the start, you simply want to span across columns and rows, just go for span. That's it. Okay. Now then, guys, let's move ahead. Let's just make it normal again. And I'm actually planning to give different colors to all of them so that they are pretty more understandable. I think those red colors might create few confusion. So let me just do that. So let me just say item 2, just different colors to all of them. Background color green. Item 3. Background color, let's say yellow. And one more. Item 4. Background color, let's say, for now, let's just give it dark slate gray, something like that. Okay, fine. So now you have 4 elements and you can see your grid as well. Perfectly fine. Now let's do few extra things to the parent. Let's go to the parent now, guys. Now here, if you want to give gap between your grid, so you can also use properties called as grid column gap. I think it's not in use anymore, but I think you can still use it. But now you can just simply use column gap, I think. No need to use grid column gap, just you can use column gap. Let's try. So column gap, let's say 20 pixels. See that, guys? So now there is a 20 pixel gap between the columns. And this is what we call as gutter, Naveen. So I think now even I'm not confirmed, I'm not exactly sure about this, but I think this is what we call as gutter, not the edges part. So that's fine. Okay, so is it cleared now? So column gap, and just like that you can give. Initially the properties were named grid column gap, grid row gap, but they removed it afterwards and they just call it column gap and row gap now. So column gap, row gap of 20 pixel as well. So you'll see now there is a row gap of 20 pixel as well. See that? So I hope it's cleared now, guys. Column gap, row gap. Very, very simple, very, very easy. And now I can also specify different size, right? So column gap is 30 pixel and row gap is 50 pixel. But again, guys, if both of them are same, so instead of writing it twice, what you can do is just use a single property called as gap. That's it. So gap 30 pixel. So now this is common for everything. 30 pixel column, 30 pixel rows. So only if you're sure that both of them will be same, just go for gap. But if you want to, like, if you have different values for column gap and row gap, you can simply go for column gap and then row gap. Okay. Hopefully it is cleared, guys. So that's how you give gaps between your grids. I hope it's all clear till now. Okay. Now then, let's talk about some dynamic sizes in your rows and columns. Because right now, as you can see, my grid is a little bigger. My parent element, the container, is a little bigger because my container's width was 600 pixels. Okay. But I'm only taking 450 from that. Right? Because 150 plus 150 plus 150, I'm only taking 450. And my container's height is 500, but I'm only taking 300 from that. That means 200 is left at the bottom. And now some gaps as well. Obviously, there are some gaps. So let's remove the gap for some time. And let's talk about few extra things. Okay, guys? So now, you can also do this. Rather than specifying the exact width. Now again, guys, you can specify the exact width of the column only if it is needed. Otherwise, you can also do this. 1 FR, 1 FR, 1 FR. FR here stands for fraction. It's like your flex grow. Take the space. So now, whatever is the width of the container, it will be divided into 3 and it will be given to each column. So now you'll see. Here we go. So now, okay, let me remove the extra element so that you can understand it in a better way. Let me remove that 4th element for now. For now. See now? So all the 3 columns get equal space. Understanding, guys? So if you ever do, like, if you don't plan on counting how much you want to give, just give it 1 FR, 1 FR, 1 FR, and it will simply take, they all will take equal spaces. If you give, let's say 2 FR to someone from that, that basically means that your width will be divided by 4. First column will take 1 from that. Second column will take 2 fractions from that, and third column will take 1 fraction from that. So now if you see that? So now your whole width is divided by 4. First and third are taking 1 fractions, and second one is taking 2 fractions. Is there anything like Bootstrap by default? There's 12 rows. No. In Bootstrap, it's a CSS library, right? It's a CSS library. Internally, they have also wrote the code in grids and flex boxes. So there they have defined 12 columns. Here, no. We define how many columns we want. Is that clear? You saw that, right? When I gave display grid, there was nothing. So you have to define everything here. So is it clear, guys? You can also go for FR, and mostly you are going to be using FR only. Okay, I hope it's cleared. One other thing is, if all your sizes are same, like in this case, I have all the rows of 100 pixels, right? So what you can do is, you can go ahead and instead of writing 100, 100, 100, simply write repeat, and then the number of times you want to repeat. I want to repeat 3 times 100 pixels. So it's the exact same thing, but a shorthand. Still the same thing. So if I just go on grid, you can see there are 3 rows of 100 pixels each. Is that clear, guys? Grid works for mobile and desktop. Yes. It works for mobile and desktop. It has a really cool way of performing responsiveness. I'll show you guys at the end. Don't worry. I'll show you guys at the end. So guys, are we cleared, everyone? Are we cleared with this? Okay, so if you're mentioning the same values again and again, just write repeat the number of times you want and the value, and that's it. It will be repeated. So I can see your grid is becoming like this. Okay, cool, amazing. Now let's talk about few more things here. Let's talk about few more things. Let's do one thing. Let's fill all of that with elements. Okay, let's fit all of this. So basically, I'll have 9 elements. Let me create 9 elements in here. So 3, number 4, okay, number 4. I just want to fill everything now. Just want to show you something. 5, 6, 7, 8. One more I need. 9. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so now all of it is filled. You can see that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So everything is filled. Now that means there is no cell left inside the grid. But now, where we're going to use FR can give some examples. Yes, see, Vishal, sometimes what happens is you are not sure about the width. Let's say I have a container of 700 pixels and I'm not sure about the width of the columns. I simply just want to divide that column into 3 and just give the fractions, right? I have 700 pixels. I'm not planning on to, now see, normally if I have a section of 700 pixel width, right? And if I tell you, okay, divide that in 3 columns. So you will calculate, okay, what will be the size of one column, and then you will give it. So rather than calculating, just give 1 FR, 1 FR, 1 FR. Internally, it will be divided into 3 columns and they will take that 3. That's it. Getting my point? So you don't have to calculate. In this case, see, if I just specify 1 FR, 1 FR, 1 FR. So it is divided into 3 columns and they take, I don't have to worry about the width. I'm not calculating it. Yes, while building forms. While building anything, you can do it. Not only while building forms. You can use it at any point of time. It is simply for dividing your grid. That's it. So I right now, I'm not calculating the width. I simply give 1 FR, 1 FR, 1 FR. That means divide the total width in 3 fractions and give it to each column. Is that clear? And not only while building forms. You can use it at any point of time. It's completely fine. FR means any part of the parent. 3 means 1 of 3 of... Exactly, Utpal. Okay? Is it clear, guys? So basically 1 fraction, 1 fraction, 1 fraction. That means the width of the parent will be divided into 3 fractions and one fraction will be given to each column. If I do 1 FR once more, it will be divided into 4 fractions. And one fraction will be given to each column. Just like I gave 2 here, right? So it was divided into 4 fractions. The first column took 1 fraction, the second column took 2 fractions, and the third column took only 1 fraction. So it got created something like this. Okay, I hope it's cool now. Let's move ahead now, guys. So now as you can see, I have filled the whole grid. That means there is no cell left inside the grid. But now, what if I create one extra element? Let's say I create one extra element at the end. And for that, we don't have any space, right, guys? Let's say item number 10, something like that. And see, so basically it's taking the whole space left, and that's fine, right? That's not wrong. It's taking the whole space left inside that parent, right? But if you do, now see guys, whatever elements you create, so in your grid there were 9 cells, you created element for those 9 cells. Those are called as explicit elements. Anything that goes outside the grid is called as an implicit element. Okay. So you can also specify height for them. For example, you can simply go here and just write grid auto rows and just give a width, let's say of 100 pixels. So now see, that means any extra row that will be created, it will take a height of 100 pixel. I am planning on to only create 3 rows, but if any extra row is created, please also give it 100 pixels. FR is worth using as opposed to fixed width. Exactly, Naveen. Normally, you're going to be using FR only. Is it cleared, guys? So initially, I planned on using 3 rows, right? So 1 row, 2 row, 3 row. But I, let's say, added one more element. So it was taking the whole height left, but I don't want that. So I simply gave grid auto rows 100 pixel, and that's completely fine. Is it cleared? So any extra row that you create, any implicit elements that you create, they will also have the 100 pixel height now. And you can specify anything else, it's completely fine. Is it cleared, guys? Everyone understood till now? Now, mostly you won't create any extra elements like this because you will create grids normally, but I hope it's cleared, guys. Okay, all set? All set, everyone? All the 11 people watching? And guys, if you're enjoying the session, if you're understanding everything, please don't forget to like the session. Okay, and let me just put on charging in my laptop because I think it's almost low. Let me just do that. Okay, that's cool. Now then, guys, so we are almost done with grids. We have understood everything, but now let's talk about a little responsiveness here. Okay, now see, in here, let's make it normal. And see, right now I have a fixed width. Let me remove the width now. Let's see what happens. Okay, so by default, it's taking this much size. Okay, and let me also remove the height. So yeah, that's fine. All good. So I remove the height and width so that it's not fixed. Remember, guys, we talked about this in initially only, that if you give pixels, it's fixed. Now I have removed that pixel, so now it's not fixed anymore. And that's completely fine. Now, let's do this. Now see, because I remove the pixels, it's behaving like a responsive element. But now, see, it becomes so thin. See that, guys? Yes, whatever is left, they will take it. Whatever is left, either whatever is left with the parent, or if there is nothing left, then they will just take small amount just so that you can see that there is something. For example, see, this parent is not having any height, right? And if I don't give grid auto rows, it will just take up the small size as the content. So whatever is the height of the content, it will take up that much size. Just to show you that that extra thing has been created, that implicit thing has been created. Is that cleared? So by using this, so if parent is having some height, it will take the whole height. If nothing is available, then it will take up the content size. Okay. But I just want it to be 100. So yeah, that's good. Now guys, see that all my elements are shrinking. And I don't want this shrinking to happen. All my elements are literally shrinking. So if I have some good content, it will completely shrink. And I don't want this. So for that, guys, you can do this. Rather than, okay, let me just remove repeat for some time, because I want to show you a few things. So let me again just write normally grid template rows, 100 pixel, 100 pixel, 100 pixel. Okay, which is exactly same. Nothing has changed. And actually I want to do it with the column for now. I want to do it with the column. So let me again remove it from here. I want to show you a few things, guys. So grid template columns. Let's say 150 pixels, 150 pixels, 150 pixels, right? All good? Perfect. Okay, so some width to the grid. It's basically kind of full width, and that's fine. Now you can see, since they are pixels, it's not going down, right? Or I think I can also go with the fraction. Let me go with the fraction only. Hopefully I can go with the fraction. Let me see. Yeah, but I can still go with the fraction. So yeah, now it's shrinking. So I don't want all my elements to shrink like this. So what you can do is, you can specify a minimum width, right? So let's say I do it for this particular column, number 2. Instead of writing 2FR, I will write MinMax. MinMax. No need to worry about viewport width here. No. Right? MinMax. And I'm saying that minimum should be 100 pixel and maximum should be 2FR. That means, see now. So if the space is available, it will be 2FR, but it will not go below 100 pixels. See that? On 100 pixel, it's getting stuck. Guys, can you see that? Everyone? So I don't want things to shrink. So you can specify min-max. You can specify 150. That means the minimum this element will shrink is 150. Maximum can be 2FR, but minimum will be 150. It will not shrink below 150. See that, guys? It stops shrinking after a certain point. So you can stop the shrinking if you want. But again, this is not causing responsiveness. It still looks bad, but at least now you have stopped it from shrinking. See guys, right now we're not understanding like how to create things with grid. We're just understanding how grid works. So I hope you're understanding that. So if you don't want your things to shrink, you can simply specify this 150. That's it. Is it cleared, everyone? Guys, are we cleared with this? Please tell me. So I can do it with all the elements. Let's just go here and let's call it MinMax. Let's say MinMax minimum is 150 and maximum is 1 FR. Same for all the 3 columns that I have. So I can just do this. So 3 columns, minimum is 150, maximum is 1 fraction. So they will take 1 fraction max, but minimum for everyone is 150. They will not shrink beyond 150. Even if the parent goes smaller, they are not going below 150, and that's fine. That's how normally your pixels work. Is it cleared, guys? Everyone? Hopefully it is understandable. Okay. So you can also specify this. Now there is one really cool thing that you can do here is, now see again, guys, same thing. We are repeating the same thing twice, right? Sorry, thrice. So I have to do this. I can just do this. Repeat. I can take this one from here and I can write 3 and here we go. The same stuff again, I can just do it like this. So I think it's still same. Let's just confirm that. And yeah, perfect. So yeah, so you can do this as well. So guys, are we cleared with this stuff? Are we cleared with all the basics of grid? There's one last thing that I'll be teaching about grids. And again, guys, there are still some points in this that you can do. So there are 2 things that I would like to explain about grids. Don't worry. We just need 10 more minutes on grids. But I hope everything is clear till now. I really, really hope everything is clear till now. Okay. But again, guys, once this session completes, you have to practice it at least once or twice. Just sit on your computers, just write the same code or just write your own code. Just do few things so that you understand it properly. Otherwise, it will always cause confusion. Okay. Don't forget to practice it at least once or twice. Please do that. Now let me create some gap here, guys. I just need some gaps in here. So I'm just going to go gap of 10 pixel only. That's it. Because I want to do few things. So gap of 10 pixels. Okay, perfect. Now right now you know that I have not given width to any of my items, right? That's why by default they're taking full width of the cell. I have not given width to any of my items. That's why they are taking width of the cell. But if you want, you can give them any height of it. Like I can just do this. Every item should have a height of, let's say, 50 pixel and width, let's say, 100 pixels. So now inside their cells, perfect, right, guys? See, their column size and row size is different and the element size is different. Don't ever think that the grid cell size is depending upon the element. No. If you don't give any height width to the element, they will take up the full cell. If you give some height width, they will adjust accordingly. Is that cleared? You specify your cell height width here by specifying row and column. And you can specify your item height width with the item. If you don't give, then they will take the full cell. But now, why I'm doing this is because I want to show you a few things. Now, I really hope that you guys remember justify content and align items from Flexbox. Here also you have it, but here it's not called justify content. It's simply called as justify items. So let's use it. So you can use justify items, let's say center. So now see what happens. All the elements go in center of their cells. Is that clear, guys? And just like that, you also have end. Don't use flex end here, guys. It's not a flex box, okay? So they're going at the end of their particular cells, right? And so here justify items works on the horizontal only. So guys, it's not flex box, okay? So here everything is fixed. Element size and grid size are different. It's nice to know. Yes, they are different. Yes. And guys, align items works forward. Either here it is fixed. Justify items works horizontally. Align items works vertically. It's fixed because you can't change directions here. So align items, let's say center. So here we go. You can see center. Is it clear, guys? There are a few more values to this. I want you guys to research it on a little bit. So research on it. I have like taught you around 70% of the grid. The other 30%, I'm leaving it up to you to research. So that when you start practicing, please research. But again, all the things that you should know about grids are here. So guys, are we cleared with this, everyone? Justify items and align items. I can just do both of them center and they will be placed in the center of the row. The best part is here you don't have to worry about gaps and all that stuff. Everything is done. Initially, it looks tough. When you come from a normal culture of CSS, like where you have only used flex boxes or where you have only used your normal display inline block, grid looks tough initially. But once you start using it, there is no going back. You will never go back to your traditional approach once you have started using grids properly, because it is so simple. Okay. Okay, now then guys, one more thing to end the grid topic, that is, okay, let me just again remove the height and width from here. Yes, you can say that. Here you don't have to worry about padding. Here you don't have to worry about margin. But again, I'm not saying that you're not going to be using them at all. Depends what you want to do. Depends. Completely depends on what you want to do. You can also give internally padding and sizing to them, right? So it's completely fine. I'm not saying margin and padding are not useful here. Mostly, you'll be using them less. You'll be only using them wherever it is required. Okay. Now then, I use most of project flex. Yeah, that's fine. But again, you can start using grid in some of the places. While coding, you have to identify where flex will be better and where grid will be better. So you have to identify the places, right? Now guys, again back to normal. So I want them to be full width. So again, I'll be removing this. And here we go. Now they are back to normal. Now one last thing guys, before we move ahead. And I don't want these many items now. So I'm going to be just commenting them out. Just want 3 items. That's it. Okay. Is it clear guys? Yes. It's 2 dimensions. Simple. Guys, should we move ahead? One last thing for grids. Everyone. Okay. Let's go. Now, you tell me how many rows and how many columns we have. We have 3 rows and 3 columns, right? Now, what you can do here is you can use something. Now, see, it's a, what you can say, it's a replacement of that start and end. So let's say you want to define few things, like your first thing should take up the whole space. Your second element should take up only 2 spaces, 2 columns. Your third element should take up 2 rows and 3 columns. And let's say you don't want to define that start and span again and again. So one thing you can do in a replacement from that is, see this, you can specify something called as grid template areas. Okay, now please focus guys, it's very important. Grid template areas. Now you know that you have 3 rows and 3 columns, right? So it will go something like this. First row, no comma, just space. Second row, third row. Think of them as your 3 rows. And now in here, specify 3 columns. Just focus, you will understand. Let's say I specify header, header, header. That means I want the header element to take the complete first row. Then I want the next element, let's say we call it main element. Main to take the second row first column, second row second column, third row first column, third row second column. And I need a aside element to take second row's last column. And I also want the aside element to take second row, third row's last column. Now see, what I'm planning on here is, I want the header element to take the complete first row. See again guys, 3 rows, 3 columns, right? So I want the header element to take complete first row. I want the main element to take first 2 columns of the second row and first 2 columns of the third row. And I want the aside element to take the last column of the second row and last column of the third row. Now, just go ahead and specify these element names. So who do you want to become header? Who do you want to become main? Who do you want to become aside? It's up to you. So let's say I want item 1 to become header. So grid area, you are going to be my header. So this element will span across headers. Let me show you. I want item 2 to become my main. So you are going to be my main. and I want item 3 to become my aside, right? So now what will happen is this item 1 will take up the whole space wherever header is mentioned. So that means the whole first row. This main element, which is nothing but item 2, will take up the whole space where main is mentioned. Is that clear, guys? Understanding the point, everyone? Let's see that. And here we go. See? The first element is taking up the whole first row. Then the second element, which I'm calling main, is taking up the first 2 columns of the second row, first 2 columns of the third row. And then your third element is taking up the last column of the second row and also the last column of the third row. So you can also do this. So if you're not planning on to do that start, end, span, start, end, span, you can also do this logic. Is it clear, guys? And sometimes it's much more easier to do it in this way. A lot of times it's much more easier to do it in this way. So guys, are we cleared with this whole approach? Everyone, please confirm me once. So simply just specify grid template areas. Depending on how many rows and columns you have, just specify the names wherever you want to span, and then simply give your elements name, proper names. That's it. So everyone, all the 11 people watching, are we cleared with this, guys? And again, guys, I want you guys to practice at least once. Just sit after the session ends. Again, please watch the video once. Just sit with it and just do it. Okay? I was in search for this kind of logic for my project to arrange images like this. Thanks for this. That's great, Utpal. That's really good to hear that you now know how to do that. Exactly, Naveen. Yes. So you can use grid template areas to give initial layout, and then inside that, for small things, you can use your start and end. And you can mix flexbox and grid properly to do amazing things in this case. Okay. So guys, that's all about grids from this session. Now, don't worry, the session is not ending because we still have few amazing things left. But that's all about grid. But again, guys, I'm saying I have not covered the whole grid. Okay. As always, you cannot know everything about everything, right? So you can think that now you know all the things that you need to start creating your website using grid. But again, there are few more things here and there that I want you guys to practice. So I'll be giving one link at the end where you can go and see all the properties and just try them once. And it will be really amazing if you guys just try it either today or tomorrow, so that you have this video with you. Just try it once. Once you just try it, it will be perfect in your mind. Okay, if you don't try it in the next 5 to 6 days, I think it's a little complicated, right? Normally, it's a little complicated than normal CSS properties. So it might fade away. So just try it once or twice, okay? And try to build something out of it. Again, we are definitely going to be using it in our project. But yeah, so that's it, guys. I really hope that you guys understood the grid. And now let's move ahead to the easier things, that is background and pseudo-classes. One of my favorite things, one of the coolest things in CSS. Okay. So again, guys, one more time, if you're enjoying this session, please don't forget to like this session. It motivates me. And also, please don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And also, guys, please share it with your friends and colleagues so that they can also watch it. Okay, now then, guys, let's move ahead. I hope grid is cleared. I'm going to be closing it. And today, guys, this whole folder will be available to you. So there is one link that I have pinned in the chat. Just go on to that link. It's a simple registration form kind of stuff. Just go ahead and write your name, email, and contact number in that. So I might be creating a group, right? So I'll be sharing all these things onto the email with you. Okay. So after the session ends, the form is pinned in the chat. Don't go right now. I don't want you to get distracted from here right now. Just go after the session, fill it, and in the next 1 hour or 2 hours, everything will be with you. Okay, cool. Now then, let's move ahead. Let me simply call it day 3. That's it, day 3. Or maybe let's call it BG-pseudo. BG-pseudo. That means I'm covering backgrounds and pseudo. Yes, Bhimrao sir, yes. Practice is a must. If you want to master CSS, practice is a must. So right now you're learning, but once you start practicing, you'll be on next level. So now, guys, are we ready? Can we move ahead to the next topics? Important but cool topics and a little easier as compared to grid. A lot easier, a lot more easier to understand. So let's go, guys. Let's call it background, and after that pseudo classes will be the last topic for today. Let's go. So now, see guys, one background property is something that you already know, that is background color, that we normally use to give colors, right? So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's say I create a div here. Okay. I give it a class. Let's call it main, something like that. And again, I'm using internal CSS in this case. The style dot main. I'll give it a height of, let's say, 500 pixels, and I'll give it a width of, let's say, 800 pixels, right? Cool. And a simple background color, again, famous color, sky blue, or not sky blue, let's give it gray now. Let's run this file. Cool. So you have a gray element around here, right? Perfect. All good. Now, you already know one property called as background color, but today we're going to be discussing 2-3 more properties related to background as well, which will help you a lot in your designing part. Okay, so let's go. So first thing is, let's say, what if I want to put an image in here? Start Telegram group. I started watching live streams with you and I found your way of learning very easy than any other tool. Thank you so much, Utpal. So actually there is a Telegram group, and the link, when you go to my channel, I have given that link here, but I'll also give it here in some time. At the end of the session, I'll be giving the Telegram link in the chat as well. So you guys can join that group here. Okay, don't worry. I have a group actually, but I have not shared it yet. So I'll be sharing it. Don't worry. So now guys, here we go. We have a simple div. Now let's say I want to put an image inside inside this div, right? So what can I do? Let's go ahead and download an image. Let me just call it nature image, something like that. Hi Jitendra, how are you, buddy? Seeing you after a long time. How are you? Okay, let's download some image like this. Okay, this is a little cool picture, so let's download it. You can download any image, guys. So I'm just going to save it in that same folder, CSS. Let's call it nature. Yeah, because I wanted a big image, right? And I want to write something onto that image. That's why I just took a different image. Yes, Naveen. I'm great. Amazing, great. I'm also good, Jitendra. I'm also good. Okay, now guys, let's move ahead. So now, let's say I want to put that image. Yes, we can take a thunderstorm as well. But yeah, for now, it's fine. Let's go, guys. Let's put that image here. So image. Again, I'm not using alt, but please guys, it's a recommended thing. Always go for alt. For practice purposes, you can ignore it, or I'll just use it. Alt some image for now. src / what can you say? Nature.jpg. Cool. And you can see now the image is quite big. See guys, the image is quite bigger than the div. So if you want to adjust it properly, you can also give some CSS to the image. So let's go ahead and give a class to the image called as n-image, that is nature image. Let's give some CSS. So .n-image. Now guys, tell me, you guys help me here. I want the image to take the exact same width as parent. So what can we do? Guys, what do we do if we want a child element to take the exact same width as parent? What do we do in that case? Come on. Don't think of an image, any element. If someone is a child, exactly, we can give 100%. Exactly. Yes, no need to give relative. Naveen, no. We are talking about the child element should take the exact same width as the parent element. So just width 100%, right? Naveen? Rishikesh, see. Now, Rishikesh is asking a very good question here, guys, that why do we use alt in here? Now see, Rishikesh, a lot of times you might have seen that when you go on websites and due to some internet issues, if the image doesn't load, so at that time, you get a simple small image cut icon, and after that, something is written over there, right? First of all, you want that content. Secondly, you go on a search engine, right? You go on a search engine like Google and you search for some images like Thor images. So that Google goes everywhere on the internet and finds the images for you. So how does Google know that that is a Thor image? So you write it inside the alt. So whatever you write it inside the alt, that is used as a part of the search. So if I write nature image here And now if someone searches for nature image on Google, Google will come onto my site, and if my site has a lot of images, it will read the alt of all the images, and if something matches nature, it will take that. So your images are also getting optimized for search engines. Thirdly, it's also for screen readers. So a lot of times disabled people also want to use websites, right? So at that time, let's say they have some kind of problem, they cannot see or basically touch the things, so the screen reader reads the alt so that they can understand what's going on, right? So that alt is very important. So normally we can see the images, but some people might be unable to see images, or maybe some people just want to read few stuff. So in that case, screen readers can read the alt to understand that. So for search engine optimization, for screen readers, and also for alternative content, we use alt. That's why the name is alt, alternate. Is it clear, Rishikesh? That's why it's important to put it always. It's very important. Okay, guys. So now we'll just give this NIMG a width of 100%. Yes, I'll talk about that. Shetkari, I'll definitely talk about that. I just want to know your name, buddy. Just please write your name once in the chat. Okay. So I'll be teaching that. Don't worry. So here we go. Now it's 100%. But I think height is a little bit bigger than the div still, right? Height is still a little bit bigger than the div, and that's fine. That's completely fine. Let me just increase the height of this. Let's say 700. Now you can see. So that's how you can fit the image. Now guys, Vaibhav. Okay, Vaibhav. That's great, buddy. Okay. Good to know you. Now let's say, guys, please focus here. Now let's say I want to write something on top of this image. But normally, if I go inside that div, and if I write something here, like let's say hello, or maybe let's say I create an H1 and write hello, you see that hello is getting created below the image. That hello is getting created below the image. That means there are two different elements. First you have the image, then you have the H1, and that's fine. This flow is completely fine. But I want this H1 or this hello on top of the image. So what can I do? Now there are various things I can do here. One thing is, I can go ahead to the image and I can give it. See, Naveen, just remember one thing. If you want to use Z index, first you have to give position. Without position, you cannot use Z index. Okay. You have to give some position to use Z index. So first of all, we'll go here and we can give it a position of absolute. Okay. So absolute. Naveen, remember that Z index. Then at that top, bottom, left, right. These 5 properties only work if you have position. Okay. So now guys, I give a position of absolute to the image and see now what happens. Remember what we talked about, guys? In yesterday's session, if you give position, it either goes to the parent or it goes to the viewport. Right? It either goes to the nearest positioned ancestor or to the viewport. In this case, its ancestor is main. And main is not having any position, and that's why it's going to the viewport. I don't want that. So what I'll do is I'll tell main to have a position. So position, relative, a position that will not hurt anyone. So relative. And here we go. Perfect. So now image is positioned according to the gray parent. But guys, see that text is gone somewhere. We know where it is gone, right? It's absolute. Whenever you give a position of absolute, it leaves its original place, and that hello was below it. So now it has taken that place, so it's behind it. Understanding it, guys? Everyone, the normal div logic here. It's the same normal div logic going on here. Okay. So now I also say that, okay, fine, H1, I also want to give you a position of absolute. So H1, you also have position of absolute. So now if this is absolute, let me just write absolute and see. So now, just like normal, you're absolute, both are on top of each other. So hello is now on top of the image. So this is one way by which you can bring some text or a div or anything on top of an image. Just both of them absolute. Now if I want to move things here and there, I can use Z index. Let's say I want to bring the image forward. I can go there and I can say, okay, fine, you come forward. Z index, let's say 5. The image is forward. I want the H1 to come forward, so something greater than 5. Let's say Z index 7. Now, normally also it was not needed. I just wanted to show you guys that how it works. Normally The text is on top of the image. Is it clear, guys? That's one way of bringing or doing something on top of the image. If h1 right before img, yeah, then that's fine. Then image will come on top by default. If you write h1 before img, then image will come on top. Then you have to use z index, definitely. Then definitely you have to use z index, Nagesh. It depends on the arrangement. So whenever you have multiple elements, okay, so remember that the element, so let's say you have 4 elements and all of them are absolute. So the first element will be at the last, then second, then third, then fourth. Okay, it follows the sequence. Is that clear, Nagesh? So whatever is at top will go behind by default. That's why normally you follow the proper sequence. But again, if you don't follow the sequence, doesn't matter. You can still use z index, right? Don't worry, Naveen, it's fine. We are not going to be using this hello anymore because I'm going to be showing you one more technique by which you can do it in a much more better way. Okay. So guys, now you know how to stack things on top of each other. Okay. Now, in place of image, this can also be a div. This can be anything, guys. These two things right now are image and a h1, but these two can be anything. These two can be a div. These two can be a section and a div. These two can be anything. Okay. But now, if you're mostly working with images, you don't have to do these many things. There is a shortcut for this. Let me remove all of this stuff, guys. Instead of using image tag to put image, you can go to the main and remove the position now. We don't have to use positions anymore. You can use something called as a background image. Background image is a replacement of background color. Just like you have color in the background, instead of that, you can have an image in the background. It's like background image, URL. So you have to write URL and then in here, just put the path. So /nature. Okay. See that? Now background color won't be visible. Guys, once you use background image, background color won't be visible. Don't forget that. And now here we go. See that? You have the image as your background. Let me increase the width a little bit. Let's say 1000. See? Is it cleared, guys, everyone? Now remember, guys, this is a background image. This is not an image. That basically means technically your main is empty. Remember that this image is now taking place of the color. It's in background. Technically, there is nothing inside the div. So whatever you write, let's say an h1 and hello, that will come by default on top of the image. Because right now, it's not an image element. It's a background image. Is that cleared, everyone? That's why you can go for background image. So if you're always planning to put image behind and some content on top of it, no need to use positioning. If you have two different things like div and div, section and div, and you want to stack them on top of each other, you have to go for position. But if you want to put image in a background, one way is either using position. The other way is you can simply use your background image logic. Now see, guys, one more thing. Our div is a little bigger. Let's say 900 pixel. Our div's height is a little bigger. The image is smaller than the height of the div. So background image tries to cover everything. That's why it is repeating the image again. Because it is getting used as a background color. It wants to cover the whole div. And that's why it is repeating the image just to cover everything. So if you don't want this repetition, you can simply use background repeat, no repeat. And that repetition will be gone. Again, if you have a background color, that will be visible here now. So if you have a background color, you can see that. Is that cleared, guys? So you can go for background repeat, no repeat. I hope we are cleared, everyone. I really hope we are cleared with this. Now, see, there is some area left. Now I think Vaibhav was asking, right? What is the difference between background, contain and cover? Now you will see that. Now see, guys, the image is smaller in height than the whole div. And there is some gap left. I don't want that. So what I can use is, I can use something called as background position. And I can use cover. Now, whenever you give background position cover, it means that that image will try to cover the whole area so that no area is left, either by increasing the size or stretching the image. Doesn't matter. It will just try to cover the whole area. Even if some parts are gone, it will try to cover. See now. Okay, wait. I think cover works for width. It will try to cover the whole width. Okay, let me just try that. First of all, let me just do contain. Oh, come on. Sorry. No, it's not about the repeat. It's background size, not background position. I'm making a mistake. I'm so sorry, guys. It's background size, not position. I'm really sorry about that. Okay, guys. So if I give background size cover, it will try to cover the whole area with a single image, Naveen. I'm not using no repeat. I'm using no repeat. That means I don't want repetition. I just want the image to cover the whole area of the parent. And see, it's covering. Even if the image is getting stretched, even if some part of the image is invisible now, but it is covering the whole content area. Is that cleared? Understood? Vaibhav, with the Shetkari account, are you cleared, buddy? Because there are two Vaibhavs, right? So I don't want any confusion in here. Okay, and then the other value for background size is contain. Contain makes sure that the whole image should be visible. No matter if you're covering everything or not, the whole image should be visible. And now, here we go. The initial value, right? The whole image is visible. No matter if some places are left. So by default, it's contain only. That means the whole image should be visible. So contain means the whole image should be visible no matter if there is some spaces left. Cover means the whole area should be covered no matter if the image is getting stretched. I don't care. So that's what cover and contain means. But if you want, you can also specify your custom size. So don't use contain, don't use cover. Just use 200 pixels, space 200 pixel. The first one is width, the second one is height. Okay, it's your other account. Okay, Vaibhav. Okay, understood, buddy, understood. So guys, now if I do 200 pixel, that means now width and height. I'm giving custom width and height. And here we go. See, 200 by 200. So a lot of people are confused always that how can I give height and width to background image, because it's not an image, it's a background image. How can I give height and width? So that's how you give it. Background size. First one is width, second one is height. Is that clear, guys? So either contain or cover or your custom height and width. Is it cleared, guys? Everyone, are we cleared? Now for now, let me just go ahead and give cover here. So I want cover. So cover the whole thing, and I just want to decrease the height. I don't need that much height. So let's say 600 pixels. Okay, and let's take a big image for now, guys. I just want to take a really big image in this case. No. Yep, this is good. It's a big image, so let me just download it quickly, guys. Let me call it as nature. I want to replace the old image. Save. Yes, please replace the old image. So now we have a very big image and it's covering by default. I don't want that cover. If you give size of background more than the parent, it will stretch. It will stretch, but the thing, any extra part that is going outside the parent will not be visible. That's one property about background, Sarma. See, if I give, let's say, see, my width is 1000 pixel. Let's say I give a width of 1200 pixels and height exactly same, 600 pixels. See now what happens. That extra part will not be visible. Only the parent area will be visible. That extra part is hidden. Is that cleared? It will not be visible, Sarma. Understood? My parent's div's width is 1000 and I'm giving the image a width of 1200. Anything extra is not visible. Cool? Now guys, no background size. So by default it looks like this. That means the image is very big. The image actually is very big, but the div is small. So all that extra part is hidden. And a lot of times this will happen. Guys, are we understanding this? I'm not doing cover. The meaning of cover is display, cover the whole element. The meaning of contain is I want to see the whole image no matter the size of the div. Right? But right now there is no background size. That means the image is very big and only this much part of the image is visible. Now you can access different parts of this image by using something called as background position. I can say, fine, this is fine, but I want the center of the image to be displayed in the div. So you can say background position center. And see, now this is the center part of the image. If you see here, see the center part of the image is visible inside the div. This is the center part. You can say, no, I want to see the top part of the image. So background position top. And now you'll see the top part, which is this particular wooden log, right? See this top part. You can say, no, I want to see the bottom part of the image. So you'll see the bottom part now. See the particular river flow. See this one. Understood, guys? You can also do left and right. So the left part, the right part will be visible. Sir, can please tell how to adjust car moving on a road by background image, and there is background of clouds also. Car, yes, you can do that. I need to find an image like that. Let's see. Let me see. Car moving on road. Okay. Which one should I take? You tell me, Ujjwal. I'll try to adjust that for you. It's not cutting. See, it's internal, Naveen. It's internal. That is completely internal. Basically, that image is very big, but we are only accessing a particular section of that image. Other things are also there, but they are invisible. Anything that goes outside the boundary of the div is invisible. That's how it works by default. This background. Because background can be only visible if you have that background, right? If your element is only this big, how can its background go out? Background is supposed to be inside the element, right? Understanding it? Backgrounds cannot overflow. I hope you're getting the point, Naveen. Background needs a base. So if my div is this much, backgrounds cannot overflow. So whatever is visible will be visible. Whatever is extra will be hidden. How does decide what the top? It's simple. It's simple. See, think of it like this. If you have a div which is this much, and if you, let's say this is 200 by 200, right? This is 200 by 200. And if you have an image, let's say which is 400 by 400, right? That now you know that this much is 200 by 200, right? Correct? Naveen? So initially, this part will be visible in here. Now if I say I want the center, so it will go in the center of the image and it will take this much. 200 by 200. If you talk about bottom, it will take the bottom. If you say bottom left, it will take this much. If you take bottom right, it will take this much. Exactly. It's like a photo frame. Exactly. Exactly. Is it cleared now? So that's how it works. That's simple. Yep. Okay. Webhav, who was asking about the car example? Yeah, Ujjwal. So exactly. Frame is div. Exactly. So let's take anything like this. Okay. So it's having a lot of things around it, but the car is only here, right? And I want to display this car. So just see. Let me just do this. Save image. Let's call it car. Okay. Let me quickly create one more div here so that I can use it. So div class, let's call it car div, something like that. So dot car div. Guys, please like this session if you're enjoying it. Everyone who is joining new, please don't forget to like this session. And also whoever is new, please guys subscribe. It keeps me motivated to come up with content. So please subscribe if you're new and please like this session, guys. Okay, let's move ahead, guys. So let's say height of this is 200 pixel and width also is 200 pixel and background image is that car image. So dot slash car.jpg. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. See that, guys? Very small area. Now the car is around at the center. See that, guys? The car is around at the center and I want that to be displayed. So first of all, let's try this. Background position center. Let's see if it is visible a little bit. Yep. Can you see, right, guys? So it's visible, but it's not exactly in center. I want the car to be completely displayed. So you can customize it. So rather than writing center, top, left, bottom, you can use your custom values. So I can say, see, let's see this image. It's at the bottom part. It's mostly at the bottom part. So I can say from the top minus 300 pixels. Let's see. So it will go negative. You can see, right? Almost there. Maybe minus 400. It's like margin top, minus 500. Okay, it's too much. Minus 400. Oh, I think it's top right, bottom left. Wait. Let me just confirm that. Okay, 0, 0 is the start. Now let me try minus 200. Okay. Pixels, sorry, forgot. Yes. Minus 300 pixels. This is margin top. Minus 400 pixels. Where am I right now? Okay, guys, let's make it a little bigger because it's causing a little confusion because we're unable to see the things properly. Let me just try. Okay, first of all, it's repeating. I don't want that. Let me remove the repeat. Background repeat. No repeat. Okay, cool, perfect. And I think it's left actually. It's not the right part. Let me just make it 0 again. I want to see. Okay. Now if I move it 20 pixel, let me just see where it is moving. Is it moving on the left or right, guys? See, it's going on the right, right? Everyone, it's going to the right. Let's try. 50 pixels. Yep, it's going towards the right. So the first one is left, right, not top, bottom. I was doing it wrongly. This is the top, bottom. So left, right, top, bottom. Now let's go with the top, bottom. So minus 100 pixels. Now here we go. It's coming at the top. And see, the car is here. I want a little more left. But if I give positive values, it will move towards right. So I want it to go towards left. So negative values, minus 100 pixels. See, it's coming here. Maybe minus 150 will make it perfect. Minus 200 will completely take it in center. Perfectly fine. And let's say here, I'll just give minus 150. And see, guys, from that image, the car comes completely in center. So the first parameter is left, right. The second parameter is top, bottom. If you give positive values, it will move towards the right. If you give positive, it will move towards the right. If you give negative, it will move towards the left. Same here. If you give positive, it will move towards the bottom. If you give negative, it will move towards the top. Is it clear, guys? Ujjwal, so this is what you can do, buddy. I hope you're there. So this is what you can do to access a certain area. Now, normally, if it was at top, right, bottom, it would have come, but it was somewhere on an odd location. It was around, I think, center, bottom, and a little rightish. So that's why we used our custom values to access the exact same thing. Okay. Cool. Where is our page? Yep. Perfect. So I hope it's cleared, guys. And now, because of this, you're able to write stuff on top of the image, right? Here we go. See that? And if I want, this can also be a div in this case. I can also create a div. Let's say div class child, right? Dot child. Height 300 pixels, width 300 pixels, and background color red. See that? So you can have a div on top of it, and now you can write anything on top of it. It's completely fine. Write something in the div, move this div here, there. See, I can also do this now, right? Guys, remember flexbox, everyone. I want this element to come in center. Sir, I cleared my front end because of you. Still just watching to gain some more again from you. Thank you so much, Vaibhav. Thank you so much, buddy. And I'm really happy that you cleared your front end. That's really great. Congrats, buddy. Guys, now we want this red element to be in the center. Now we have learned flexbox, right? What can we do? We can make this parent flexbox. So display flex, correct? And now we can say that justify content center. So it becomes centered horizontally, and align items center, which will again make it, and here we go, perfectly in center. Now write something in it, create a button, create whatever you want. Exactly, Naveen, exactly. So is that cleared, guys? So that's how you can, so that's the use of background image, and these are all the different background properties. Background image, background repeat, background position. There are some more, guys, which we'll be using in the project as well. But I really hope it's cleared for today. Guys, all cleared? Okay. Now there is one more topic of pseudo classes left, but I don't want to burden you with a lot of topics for today because you have already learned grid, which was a little comprehensive, right? And then after that we did this. So let's do one thing. Pseudo class is a small topic, so let's cover it in tomorrow's session. What say, guys? Let's not burden ourselves with every topic today. I want you guys to sit and practice grids. Just take half an hour from your schedule tomorrow or today night or tonight or maybe tomorrow's morning. Just take half an hour and just practice grids once. Just practice Flexbox and grids once, guys. There's all code. I'll be sending it to you in the next 1 hour. Please use that registration form pinned in the chat. Fill that. I'll get your email from that and I'll mail this whole files to you. Is that cleared, guys? So let's do pseudo classes tomorrow because tomorrow's session is going to be easy. Two main topics that were Flexbox and grid are done now. And yes, let's code. Once we finish CSS, then we'll be moving to JavaScript. And then after that, we'll be moving to React and then backend. So we'll be completing the whole full stack web development. So all the backend. And I'm also planning for Python, then Python Django. So backend in Python, then backend in PHP as well. I'm coming up with PHP and Laravel, all that stuff. So a lot of things are there for future. So guys, please share the channel as much as you can. That will help me grow. And please like the video before going off from this session. And I hope you enjoyed the whole thing, guys. Please like the session. Okay. And now let's take your questions. Let's take 3 to 4 minutes just to see your questions. Do you guys have any questions? And also let me know in the chat, guys, did you guys enjoy the session or not? Because today we learned a lot of things, right? So please let me know if you guys enjoyed the session or not. And tomorrow we'll be covering, I think, let me just see. I always tend to forget. Let me just see what have I mentioned in tomorrow's videos. Let me just see. Okay, so tomorrow we have this. Yep, amazing. Responsiveness and animation. So tomorrow, responsiveness, animation, and also it's going to be, what do you say, pseudo classes. And guys, one more thing, if you can, only if you can, just share the channel also on your LinkedIn accounts, only if you can. If you're enjoying this, if you're really learning something from here, that will help me grow. So only if you can, please share the channel and the videos on your LinkedIn once or twice here and there. Only if you can do that, please do that. It will be so kind from you. And it will also help me grow. Also let your friends know and your colleagues know about this. Okay. Yes, I'll just give you the Telegram link. Just give me a second. So I'll just give it. Just give me a second. I think. Just let me get it. Yep. Here we go. It's in the chat now. Guys, I've given you guys the Telegram link. Please join that group. I'll be posting all the news and everything related to this channel, whatever I'm coming up with new topics, all that in that particular group. So please join that group. Okay. And also if you feel like, okay, you want to learn some new topic or you want to learn some new technology, you can just go ahead and spam it in that group. I'll be watching that group closely. I'll be following that group. So I'll see whatever is going on. I'll see. And depending on that, I'll be curating a lot of topics as well. Okay. Okay. So that's really great, guys. So please share with your friends and colleagues. Do we have any questions for today, guys? I'll not be able to make this Friday due prior upon. No issues, Naveen. No issues, buddy. So basically, we're going to make the project on Friday. Okay. So that whole video will be available to you. Okay. But see if you can. What time will be available? If you guys want, I can also change the timings here and there a little bit if you guys want. Like it's at 7:30, so we make it 6:30 or we can make it 8:30. But I think from Friday, the IPL is starting, right? So I think a lot of people won't be available. IPL is starting from Friday. And first match is going to be really good, right? You're based in UK. Okay, okay. So anytime after this will be fine for you? Maybe 8:30 IST, 8 o'clock IST, 6:30 IST, anything like that? So I can change the timing a little bit because that's Friday timing. So we can change it a little bit. If possible, make it 3 to 6 p.m. Oh, 3 is a little tough for me, Vishal. Is it not correct, the Telegram link? Is it not fine? Is it going somewhere else? Yes, I can see you people joining maybe. What happened with the Telegram link? Is it not working? Okay, Nagesh, what's happening? Is it not working? I can see, I think it's getting, I'm able to open it. Um, okay, can you guys write some message in there so that I can see if it is working or not? Can you guys write some message in there? Can you guys see my message in the group? In the Telegram group? Just go to channel and join it from there. It will work. Just open that link, Nagesh, and go to channel. Or don't worry, I'll also share you guys the Telegram invite in your mail as well, so you can get it there as well. Channel name is Thorab, Ankit. Channel name is Thorab, same. I'm going to British First Aid course, which is 9 to 5 global minute time. Okay. No issues then. So tell me tomorrow if you can adjust with some timings. I'll be changing it. Otherwise, no issues. The recording will be available. Okay. And from the future session, I'll hope you'll be definitely there, buddy. So no issues in that. No issues in that. Okay. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining in. Please like, share, and subscribe. And only like if possible, please do share it on your LinkedIn so that it can my channel can also grow a little, so that I can come up with a lot of content. And Naveen, don't worry, buddy. If even if you miss the project session, the whole recording will be there. And if you have any doubts in that, you can ask it in the next session. I'll be helping you in that. Don't worry. So from Friday, if you guys have a heart attack, I can. Okay, that's great. It's a first aid course, right? That's really great. I'll give that link. Don't worry. Yes, just give me a second. I'll be giving that link. Wait, wait, wait. Wait, here we go. Just let me see first of all from where to get the link. Okay, here we go. Copied and here we go. I'm giving the link once again, guys. Spamming the link in the chat. Now see if you can open it. Okay, guys. So that's it from today's session. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night. Eat good food. Enjoy the night. I'll be seeing you tomorrow exactly at 7:30. Because tomorrow is very important again, guys, because we're going to be learning responsiveness, animation, and pseudo classes. So don't miss it. Also tell your friends to come and join, your colleagues to come and join. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye. Have a great night. Good night, guys. Good night, everyone. Bye bye.